the energy side. I think the earlier cloud which were there pertaining to the margin and people were suspecting margin ability.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand the closing action on the D Street. It's been a fantastic day to say the least because the markets have continued to soar to record levels even on the second day running. Where do we go from here is the big question that all the investors are asking. Will the markets peak out fast? Are we going to see further high levels? And what should be the strategy that you as investors must follow at this record peak level of the markets? We'll understand all of this with an expert who'll join in. But first up, a quick check as to how the markets are doing at this point in time. As we begin this last half an hour of trade, you can see the market soaring to the top level of the day. 200 points up right now for the Nifty, 19,174 currently, up by over a percent. The Sensex, 745 points up in trade at 64,660, 1.2% uptick currently. So the fresh record levels. You've never seen these levels before. You are seeing them on every minute being inching higher. The mid caps and the small caps participating at large. 2.7% uptick for the mid cap 100 index. The small caps also up by 46, 47 points odd. Let's also look at the sectors. We've been seeing all the sectors participating in this rally right from the beginning in today's trading action. The Nifty Bank, the PSU banks, the autos, the IT stocks, pharma, you name it, and you've been seeing all of them participating. Right now, the index that's leading with maximum gains is the IT index, 2.4% uptick for now. The auto stocks are also in top gear, 2.3% uptick for this one. PSU banks up by over 2% as well. Apart from this, you're seeing the private banks up by over a percent. Financial services nearing a percent move on the index, half odd percent gains coming in on FMCG, on realty as well. The healthcare index, metals absolutely flat. The pharma index is up by 1% odd as well. So you name it, you're seeing all the sectors up into the green. Let's look at the stocks, which are the ones that are topping the charts as far as the Nifty index is concerned. Well, you do see some of those auto names really coming up. M&M back up in flavor today, about 4% up in trade. Infosys, Hero Motocorp, you're seeing Maruti also up at 98.19 currently, up by 3% odd. IndusInd Bank also up in trade. Infosys up by 3% too. On the downside, however, you're seeing Adani Ports, looking at profits being taken off the table. Apollo Hospitals, Grasim, Divis Laboratories, HDFC Life, the other laggards at this point in time, but minor losses of under 1% coming in on most of these stocks as well. But let's welcome our guest on the show. Mr. Abhishek Basu Malik joins in. He's the Chief Investment Advisor and Founder at Sense Capital. Welcome, sir, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. Well, what a spectacular move in the last two trading sessions. Not only have we seen that 19,000 mark coming in, but as most of them were fearing that perhaps this mark will be touched and we'll see profits being taken off. The second day running and there are no signs of that coming in. We had almost 3 months back, we'd almost touched that 16,800 level. And, we've seen this remarkable rally in these last 3 months. What do you think is working in favor for the Indian markets, and can that continue going forward as well?
Hi, firstly, again, thanks for having me on your show. I think nothing much has changed since we spoke last week. Markets have been, good. Uh, last week, I said it's good that once in a while we have kind of a pause. Looks like the pause is now behind us. We
Yeah.
again started picking up, and we'll probably run a little bit and then pause again, and that's how it is going to continue. So honestly, I don't see this time as a new all-time high to be a time of being extremely euphoric. This is par for the course. This is what is expected to happen. Overall, the Indian economy is in a strong wicket if you compare it to global peers, and I think that is why one of the reasons why our markets are doing so well. Valuations are not very cheap, but they're not expensive either. They've come off for the last 1.5 years. The economy has done well. The earnings have kept pace. So things are overall, looking quite good.
Absolutely. Things are looking quite good at this point in time. But going forward from here, which are the positive sectors, themes you're now bullish on, you believe that now can take the lead? You know, we've seen a remarkable comeback of the IT stocks today. Can that finally come out of the underperforming zone and now lead the rally in the next phase?
I would still be a little bit skeptical, on the IT front. I think still that US and Europe, primarily US, is still, you know, at least from a psychological perspective, still in that gray zone of whether they're going to get into a recession or not. And that tends to weigh a lot on corporate decision making in terms of projects and things like that. So, IT services, I would be a little bit circumspect about. Uh, Overall, other than IT, I mean, if you look at Indian markets, Indian economy, getting into an election year, spends on infrastructure, spends on roads, railways, defense. All of this has gone up substantially over the last, few years, and that trend is continuing. So, uh, also, if you see, manufacturing is going to get a lot of boost from this kind of spending that is happening. China plus one again remains a extremely bright and big theme for the next few years. So overall, I think if you combine all of these factors and add to it that we are one of the, uh, I mean, right now we are the fastest growing large economy. But even if I take that aside, I mean, if you look at take a decadal view, we will still remain one of the largest and fastest growing large economies, whether it's
Yeah.
China or India, swapping places between themselves. But we will, be on the top two, top three, and that presents an opportunity in itself. The demography supports us. We are a young economy, at least for the next 10 years. That should support us. So I personally think that in the next 2 3 years should be extremely good for the Indian markets.
Okay, you know, our friends from the FII, they have come back in style. The DIIs have been supporting the markets all through and through. We've been seeing domestic flows pretty buoyant. What would your message be to the Indian investors? Because most of them may be thinking, you know, I really participated in the bad time or the bad phase in the markets. And, you know, they may be thinking, what should I do now? Should I really book out my profits? Should I ride this new territory? The outlook still looks positive. What would your message be to them?
uh, single and simple message: remain invested, or if you have more capital, deploy it. For the next 2 3 years, 5 years, Indian markets should do extremely well.
Okay, should our capital be deployed to the mid and the small caps at all? Do you think this space will continue to do well?
As an individual investor, I am completely market cap agnostic. I don't believe the notion that good quality or good businesses have to be tied to a particular market cap. Opportunities can come for anyone, whether you're a very large company or a very small company. And over the last 1 year, we've seen a behemoth like ITC perform extremely well, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
uh, it doesn't matter whether you're a very big company or a very small company. What matters is the kind of business you are in, the kind of headroom growth that is there, and the management bandwidth and management quality, uh, industry tailwind. Those are things which matter more than market cap and size.
Okay, but Mr. Basu Malik, I also wanted to understand from you that there's a lot of action coming in, as we've seen historically also, wherever the markets are at all-time highs or in good pace. A lot of these IPOs also come in. We've been seeing this flurry of IPOs this week too. Idea Forge, Scient, DLM, and now PKH Ventures has opened for subscription. Over subscription figures for both Idea Forge and Scient. Over 70 times kind of a subscription coming in for Idea Forge. That's remarkable. Any of these IPOs that you may be tracking, and would you advise any investors to take a pick even now despite these mind-boggling numbers of subscriptions?
See, I have a very simple philosophy with IPOs, which is that I stay away. And my rationale is very simple. What typically tends to happen with a large number or a large percentage of IPOs is, when management wants to take a company public, first of all, they do it in, there are two things. One is they don't, they will do it in a buoyant market, which means that they want things to be in their favor, which exactly means that it's not in my favor. The second thing is, uh, there tends to be some amount of window dressing, or cleaning up the balance sheet and P&L accounts for 1-2 quarters before an IPO is done. So what I typically want to do is I want to give a company uh, at least 2 quarters to 4 quarters after it is listed for it to perform. And my experience has been that in most cases, uh, companies tend to underperform in the first 1 or 2 quarters, because that is when the pains of the window dressing, cleanup comes for. And once that is done, uh, after say 2 quarters to 4 quarters, that is when the actual business quality and the business results start coming in. And if it's a really good business and if it has a long runway, there's no harm in buying it after a year.
Okay, understood that. In this kind of a last 3 month move in the markets that we've seen, this remarkable move, we've seen large caps, especially the usual heavyweight counters that have usually lifted most of the weight, HDFC Twins, Reliance Industries, largely stay out of this kind of a move. Do you think time is now that, after this kind of record flows, they will finally start moving as well and perhaps push markets even higher going forward from here?
Uh, See, HDFC now has this technical issue in terms of the merger happening.
Yeah.
Domestic institutions may have to pare down positions because of the max weightage, etc., etc. Uh, but overall, I think from a business perspective, HDFC uh, Bank looks extremely good for. I mean, it's going to be the preeminent or the largest bank in India, one of the largest banks
Sure.
in the world. Extremely good balance sheet, well managed, and very good penetration in one of the largest economies, or one of the fastest growing economies in the world. So, long term looks a very, very good bet. Uh, the Reliance current, short term challenge is, uh, the petrochem business is trying to sort of feed into the other two, the telecom and the other ventures, retail, and somewhat the financial ventures. Once all of these stabilize, then Reliance is obviously a good bet. So, uh, overall, I mean, if you would ask me, I would not want to sort of bet on Reliance right now. Maybe
Okay.
if somebody has a very long-term horizon, they might want to take a look at Reliance. HDFC again, obviously, these are both, I mean, portfolio stocks that you can buy and hold for many years, but no buy sell, sort of thoughts from me at this point in time.
Yeah, but HDFC, I'm glad that you mentioned about the merger. Of course, HDFC Bank shares both have risen to 1 month highs ahead of the board meeting outcome that's due later today, that will finalize the merger effective date. Both shares are up in trade today, but earlier this week, the management did give the tentative dates for the completion of the merger, as saying that it would come into effect from July 1st, and separate board meetings of the twins are due today, and the record date will be again announced later. So that's something that one must definitely remember. Now, HDFC is likely to be delisted pretty soon. Your thoughts on how should investors be really looking at these stocks in their portfolios already? Is this a case that they should be worried about? Will they get something in return? Those investors of HDFC Limited per se.
No, I mean, if you are a holder of either HDFC or HDFC Bank, I don't see any reason to sort of even think about it. It's just let it be, let the process get over. Overall, I think combined they will end up becoming a much more formidable player.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in financials, the size of the balance sheet matters. Quality of management has never been a question at both these institutions. I think combined they will continue to scale new heights. So no worries at all. I think there was I was just sort of going through before this show. I think July 13th is one of the dates that's being mentioned. I don't know whether it's official as yet, but that's probably the date when the merger is going to get, the stocks are going to get listed, or something like that. Check those dates, but honestly, there's nothing much to do about. If you hold those shares, just keep holding them. If you are holding HDFC shares, you will get HDFC Bank shares, and if you are holding HDFC Bank, nothing much changes for you.
Okay, understood that. In this recent run up in the markets, okay, let's not lose sight of how the markets are inching even higher as we just 15 minutes away from the market's close. 818 points higher for the Sensex right now, 64,734, 19,194 currently for the Nifty 50. So that 19,200 that most of the technical analysts were talking about, that soon that's the next target they are watching out for, maybe just seen in a single day's time. And 821 still moving higher for the Sensex. It's at the day's high point, at the record levels, and Reliance Industries is also contributing to it a lot. In the last 5-10 minutes odd, we've seen the stock move also in today's trading action. So let's continue to watch out for as the party continues on the street. But Mr. Basu Malik, 25.51 for Reliance Industries, almost a percent up for this one as well. So finally, you're seeing the most valued stock really moving and providing that extra edge, and it's push and participating, because it's been talked about how it has not participated in this rally. Perhaps now RL is also giving that thumbs up to the rally too. But I wanted to understand from you your own sense in the last 5-10 days or so, in the last 15 days or so, any stock that has actually attracted your attention where you have started to build on positions, any particular segment, sector that you have started to build more positions in?
I don't think so. We've not, we don't sort of trade in and out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We've held on to our positions, whatever we've had. Uh, we've added a few interesting ideas that we are working on. That's something again that we do all the time.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I think a lot of ideas, are coming through now. That is, that we are working on. But I think it's a good time to be in the markets.
Yeah.
It's we are in a good phase. Hopefully, we will continue like this, for the next 2-3 years.
Absolutely. That's the hope that we have. And it's a great note to end this show on. Many thanks, Mr. Basu Malik. Always a pleasure having you with us. A great day to be celebrating these all-time high levels for the markets as well. The continuous rise of both the Sensex and the Nifty. The party continues. But what should be your strategy is something that we will continue to discuss more and more about. So do stay tuned on to Business Today TV for more on that going forward from here too. And until then, many thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and also continue to engage with us on our other social media platforms where you'll continue to get more buzzing action from the D Street.